Hi everyone, my name is Danielle. So for my informative video, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the ear. And unfortunately, I did not get the model that I ordered on time. So my children and I made a very Picasso-esque version made out of Play-Doh. That way at the end of this video, I can give you guys a little bit of a visual for the different parts that I've been talking about. At the end of this video, I'm hoping you guys will have taken away 3 things, one of which is going to be the different parts of the ear, 2 is going to be what these parts do, and 3 is going to be proper ear care. So I want to start off by talking about the outer ear, which consists of the cartilage, which you can see, the ear canal, and then the tympanic membrane, better known as the eardrum. So what happens is when these different sound waves come at us, they are funneled in by the cartilage into the ear canal where they travel down and they hit our tympanic membrane. Now this brings us to the middle ear, which consists of 3 different bones. These are the malleus, which is connected to your eardrum, the incus, which is connected to the malleus, and then the stapes. Now, the stapes is also the smallest bone in the body, so that's a little fun fact. Now, what happens is once these sound waves hit and vibrate our tympanic membrane, it then makes these different bones move as well, which brings us to the inner ear, the cochlea, the semicircular canals, and then the auditory, vestibular, and facial nerve are all what is in the innermost part of your ear. Now, the cochlea is a fluid and hair cell filled space, which is actually named, it's a Greek word for snail, just because it looks very much like a snail. And what happens is the sound waves are filtered in, they travel down the ear canal, they hit your tympanic membrane, which shakes these bones. The stapes, in turn, hits a different membrane that's almost like the tympanic membrane, and it is connected to the cochlea. Now, when this moves, it causes the fluid that is inside the cochlea to move in a very wave-like fashion. And when these waves start moving, it starts hitting the different hair cells. The hair cells, if you hear a higher pitched noise, it's going to hit the lower part of the cochlea. And then if you hear a lower pitch noise, it's going to stimulate the hairs in the upper part of the cochlea. And this will travel along the auditory nerve into the brain where it is then translated and tells you pretty much what you're hearing. I also mentioned the semicircular canals. These are not used for hearing, though. These are used for balance. So much like the cochlea, it's also filled with different fluids, different hairs, thousands of different nerves. And what happens is when you start moving, the fluid that's in it kind of sloshes around and hits the different hairs, which then runs up the vestibular nerve and translates to the brain how you're moving. That way you can stay balanced. So whenever you are on the teacup ride, for example, and you're spinning, this hair is going to be picking up that the fluid is spinning and spinning and spinning. So when you get off of this ride, even though you are not spinning anymore, the fluid that is inside of these canals is still spinning, which is telling your brain that you are dizzy, and it is going to try to equalize and balance you out. So that is going to be the inner ear. Also, the different uses for the ear is going to be to equalize pressure. Now, this is going to take us back to the inner ear. This is an air-filled space. So you have the the incus, malleus, and the stapes, but it is also filled with air. So connected is going to be the eustachian tube, which runs into your throat. And this helps with equalizing pressure in a very odd way. So most of the time, the eustachian tube is going to be closed, but different activities will actually open it up a little bit to let air through. These different activities are going to be chewing, yawning, things like that. So whenever you're on an airplane and you're high in the air, you have a lot of pressure that is going to be put onto your body just because of the different height that you're at. We're not supposed to be that high in the air. So what happens is once you start chewing that gum or you yawn, your eustachian tube is going to open up, allowing air to come out, and it equalizes the pressure. So those are little interesting facts. Now, the last part that I saved for last, I did not forget about the part that you guys are probably going, what the heck? Why hasn't she talked about it yet? The earwax. Now, where this is done is actually in the outer ear. It's glands in the ear canal that produce this waxy substance, and then it travels along the different hairs that are in your ear canal. Now, when the earwax goes down the ear canal, it also brings out the different germs and dirt and just the nastiness that can cause infection. So it pulls it away from the inner ear, which is going to stop you from getting a lot of different infections. So it's also good for preventing infections as well. The ear does a lot of amazing things. So this brings us to ear care. Now, a lot of you probably use Q-tips. Do not use Q-tips. When you use Q-tips, you can cause a lot of different problems, such as impaction, which is where the earwax is pushed towards the eardrum. It gets stuck, which keeps all the dirt and germs that are usually traveling away from the eardrum. It keeps them right next to it. This can cause infection. It obviously isn't good to have it there. It can block hearing, lots of different problems. Another thing that you can do is you can perforate your eardrum, or poke a hole in it is what that means. And this opens it up to infection. So you don't want to do any of that. The proper way to clean your ears is actually very, very time consuming. And I'm going to be honest, I don't use this way 100% of the time, not as much as I would really like to. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to soften the earwax by putting in baby oil or peroxide, something of that nature. You're supposed to sleep with it in your ear, tilted up, to let it soften the earwax. Then the next morning when you get up, you're supposed to use one of the bulb syringes, use warm water, put that in there, and then leave it. When you tilt your head down, it's supposed to drain everything out. Nobody realistically has time to do this as often as they would like to. So what I like to use are the different Klinier scoops, and these are very soft. They don't go very far into the ear, so they're not going to puncture anything. You just scoop out the earwax that's right there at the very front of the ear canal. I also like ear candles, and those are not for everybody, but they are also very effective. So again, for this video, I've taught you the different parts of the ear, what they do, and proper ear care. I'm going to go ahead and show you our little model that we made, if I can keep it all together. So this is going to be the eardrum, which is connected to the malleus, which is also connected to the incus, which will be connected to the stapes, just like that. This is going to be the conchlea, like I said, shaped a bit like a snail. You have your semicircular canals, which are going to be attached to the conchlea, which are in turn connected to the three different nerves that go into your brain as well. So I hope that you guys have learned something, and I hope that you are now just as interested in the ear as I am. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you guys so much.